Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official NFL Week number 9 potential upset alert predictions, where I dive in on a few games that I think possibly could be upsets. Also, we'll be taking a look at games where a lot of people are thinking there's going to be an upset, and I'm going against that, and that's really this first one. It's the LA Chargers at the Atlanta Falcons. Now, many analytical models project and think that Atlanta should really be favored in this matchup by around 1.5, 2 points. Vegas has the Chargers -3. I would assume this is because the Chargers are coming off a bye week. They've got the significantly better quarterback. It makes sense. And when it comes to me picking this game, it really comes down to that quarterback situation. Marcus Mariota, the Atlanta Falcons, being extremely one-dimensional, at least until this past week. I am taking the Chargers. They're getting healthier on the road. It's one of those spreads, -3. It's ripe for a home upset when the road team is 3-point favorites. We normally see, that's a potential for the home team to win outright. And Atlanta's been very solid this year. They've surprised people. They're always covering spreads. But this week, I do think the Chargers, who are desperate for the win, get it done 34-25. I'll be interested to see if Atlanta maybe throws the ball a little bit more this week. They kind of were able to throw a little bit more against Carolina. I'd love to see Drake London get involved. But I'm very interested in the Atlanta Falcons' future, because I had figured Atlanta would have 2 or 3 wins at this point. It's kind of interesting, Mariota, kind of definitely a bridge quarterback to Desmond Ridder or whoever. I figured Desmond Ridder would be starting by week 10, week 11, but because Atlanta is really in the thick of things here, surprising people, using their run game, it doesn't look like Desmond Ridder, at least for now, is going to play. I think if Atlanta got eliminated, in week 13 or 14, or if Mariota really starts to struggle, we would see Desmond Ridder. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that. Also, the idea of preseason expectations does play a little when it comes to this prediction. I am expecting some regression from Atlanta just because I really don't think they're this good. So that's another reason why I have them losing this game. Next potential upset is Miami traveling to Chicago. So yeah, very interesting. Miami here in early November in Chicago. We could be dealing with some weather, although I've seen some different weather reports. It's supposed to be unseasonably warm, so Miami really could luck out there. But based off of what I've seen the past few weeks, the fact that Chicago is at home, Justin Fields is improving. They're using his legs. They've got a really, really good running game. They can do play action to set up the pass and really free their receivers, along with the fact that Miami, to me right now, is extremely one-dimensional. They do not have much of a running game. Chicago, listen, yes, they gave up 49 points last week. In my opinion, that was a total aberration. I'm taking Chicago as 5-point underdogs to win this game outright, because the past few weeks we saw their great performance in New England, and then Justin Fields and that offense, they ran really well against a good Dallas defense. Once again, I know they gave up 49 points. Their defense is better than that, and their defense will play better even without, Roquan Smith, in my opinion, at home. They will be better. Miami, you're going on the road. You struggle to run the ball. Yes, they've got a really good passing attack. I'm not arguing that. But, teams that go on the road that struggle to run the football, they normally tend to face significant struggles. I will take the Chicago Bears and the improving Justin Fields to win this game outright. Next, we've got Carolina at Cincinnati, and I'm already almost thinking about changing this pick. So I've got it extremely chalky, 26-20. I don't want to overreact to what I saw last night. Cincinnati without Jamar Chase, it was a horrible offensive performance. It was a night where everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Jamar Chase is out. The Browns pass rush created significant pressure onto Joe Burrow, forced a few turnovers, and Cincinnati's got some injuries now, apparently on the defensive side of the ball as well. I just cannot understand this Carolina Panthers team. They look completely dead in the water. Looks like they're for sure tanking. After trading Christian McCaffrey, getting some draft capital back, they're going for that number 1 overall pick to get a franchise quarterback, and then they come out and they shut down Tampa Bay at home, and then they have an extremely competitive game with Atlanta. Their offense looks better. DJ Moore is looking better. Without Robbie Anderson, without Christian McCaffrey, it's like they've gotten better. So it's very hard. I'm waiting for Carolina to come back down to earth, but it's a situation with Cincinnati without Jamar Chase. There's just so much up in the air, but I do think Cincinnati at home will get this win if I had to predict it. The next game, we have Green Bay traveling to Detroit. I'm sure, very, very attractive pick. A pick here would be Detroit plus the 3, plus the 3.5, whatever it is, on your sports book, because Detroit has a good offense. They're at home. Green Bay has been so bad, both offensively and really underwhelming on the defensive side of the ball. But guys, this is the week for Aaron Rodgers. Even with the receiving core, it's not good. They've got the running backs. They can set up the play action. You're facing a bad defense. I think Aaron Rodgers, maybe not the 300 passing yards, but we're looking at 3 passing touchdowns, no turnovers. A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, the running back duo should be good. And then Detroit, I think Green Bay and their pass rush and what they've invested into that defense is really going to give Detroit problems and probably turn Jared Goff over a few times. So Green Bay, it's really now or never. Aaron Rodgers' back is up against the wall, and thankfully he's facing a horrible defense to where I think they will cover this spread and they will get a win. I know not a lot of people trust this game, but I'm going with Aaron Rodgers against a bad defense, even with the receiving core. These are all young guys. They're getting better each week. You would think they're getting more experience with Rodgers. I'll take Green Bay. This game's also in a dome. Weather is not going to be an issue. They should be able to throw the ball, all over the place. Next, we've got Minnesota traveling to Washington. So the Commanders really flip a coin. They're involved in a lot of close games. They probably shouldn't have beat Indianapolis, but they did. They won that game really late by 1 point. That was Sam Ehlinger starting his first game. Now they come home to face a Minnesota team that only has 1 loss. And guys, Minnesota, in my opinion, is due for a loss. And that's what this is. Sometimes, when you've been watching the NFL long enough, a team is due for a loss. Minnesota, even though the Commanders, very fluky, a lot of close games, the Commanders at home, they're not a horrible team. They will get the job done. They will win this game outright as 3.5-point underdogs. Last week, I was going to pick against Minnesota at home versus Arizona because I thought their record was too good. But I said, listen, be smarter about it. Minnesota's at home. They're the better team. Minnesota won, and they covered the spread. This week, I can't do it. I'm in on the Commanders to win this game outright over Minnesota. And then this is the Monday night game. It is the Saints and the Baltimore Ravens. So the Baltimore Ravens right now could create some decent separation in the AFC North with Cincinnati, losing to Cleveland. And I think they're really going to capitalize off of it. You're talking about the quarterback matchup being Lamar Jackson versus, we'll see if Jameis Winston has an injury where he's been out like 4 or 5 weeks, it seems like. So I don't even know if Jameis Winston is going to be back. There's going to be a significant quarterback advantage for the Baltimore Ravens. In my opinion, they've got a solid defense. They just got a new addition. They're not going to squander this opportunity to really separate themselves in the AFC North. They were my pick in the preseason to win the AFC North. And I think this game is another situation. AFC versus NFC, significant quarterback advantage for Baltimore. They are the 3-point road favorites, so it's one of those weird games. But I will take Baltimore minus the 3 on Monday night. And you talk about New Orleans and their defense. All of their games have gone over. And then last week, in my opinion, a total aberration shutout. It was more of the Raiders offense just having a total meltdown. New Orleans defense, for the most part this year, especially in the Superdome, we're looking at higher scoring games. So even after New Orleans pitched a shutout last week, I do like the over for this Monday night matchup. And I certainly think the over would have hit for the Browns-Bengals game. I made that prediction before Jamar Chase. I didn't even know Jamar Chase had an injury. And then they come out and they say, oh, he's out 4 weeks. So that Monday night Browns-Bengals game last night, that would have, if Jamar Chase is playing, that game is going over. That game's a high-scoring game. It's going over. Jamar Chase is out. It's crazy how these receivers, having a number one receiver, really affects an offense. Imagine if Baltimore would have traded for A.J. Brown. It's like, you wonder with Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, how much of it is Lamar Jackson just really isn't a pocket passer, and how much of it is Baltimore just hasn't given Lamar a number one receiver. Because it could be either one of those things. I mean, I know they drafted Bateman in the first round, but that was a late first round pick. Like, when you compare to what Jalen Hurts is doing with A.J. Brown, what would Lamar Jackson be doing with A.J. Brown? Because I do think, Lamar's never going to throw for 300 yards in a game. That's probably going to affect, even if you have a superstar receiver, that's probably going to affect it. But it's also a situation where he's never had a superstar receiver. So that is something interesting. And with Baltimore, I mean, they're going to have cap problems if they are able to re-sign Lamar. So I'm not sure how they're going to be able to acquire a number one receiver without trading for him. So we will see what happens. But this Monday night game, it's a cool AFC-NFC game in the Superdome, and I am taking the Baltimore Ravens. So guys, those are my NFL Week number 9 upset alert predictions. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.